First things first, we are going to start where we ended in the main event. Corey Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus the Roman and the Reigns and The Rock. Oh, this was beautiful. This was a fun match. But off the top, I need to talk about The Rock's entrance. On Twitter, I noted really, really early in the show that entrances were lacking in this WrestleMania. I mean, almost nobody got an entrance, but that Rock entrance, whoo, they got me. Because after Seth came out, and I was like, bro, they got to stop with this cross-dresser Steph. Like this is it's out of control at this point. Steph is out there with that. What was that? Was that a hat on his a blouse? And it's crazy at this point how they just be having Seth looking. And maybe there's like this grandiose fashion designer that designs all of Steph's stuff. Or let's go back to Steph. That designs all of Steph's stuff, and he looks crazy, but I guess he's putting the guy over by wearing his stuff. So have at it, I guess. Maybe somebody needs to, maybe as Seth is wearing his stuff, maybe they need to put the guy over. If this is a fashion designer that Steph is supporting, maybe they need to announce that sort of thing. Or maybe they don't want to give him no plug. I mean, hey, you ain't paying no money, you don't get no advertising spot. So I get it. If I don't know what the case is, I'm throwing him a bone because I don't, But Rock comes out after Seth, and they did a whole game thing where they did a countdown on the Trons. Well, a count up to 100%. Then you did the final boss thing. You had the Brahma Bull in the middle. Then you have your lightning. Then there's just lightning happening. You just hear the lightning sound effects all over the place, but you don't see it because all you see is fire. I'm like, about to have an inferno match here? What are we doing? It was just fire. All you see is fire. You hear lightning. You don't see lightning. You just hear fire. I mean, you just see the fire. So I'm like, dang. I mean, I know they got to tighten up on production a little bit, because of the mics thing earlier. I'm like, I know they got to tighten up on the production a bit, but it sounds like you got so much stuff going on, but all we see is the fire. That's all we see. And then you see the Rock come out through the fire. I'm like, they got me. And then they give you the overhead, and the fire is the Brahma Bull. Now I see why nobody got an entrance. They saved it all for the Rock. They saved all of that entrance for the Rock. He's just standing in that fire and that belt, the People's Champ belt with the Brahma Bull on it. This shit was clean. I would say it was fire, but it was literally fire. It was literally fire. This entrance was great. And then you got the lightning all over They did that. They did that. So Rock gets in the ring. Out comes Roman. Roman did his basic entrance. And I just wanted to pay close attention to Roman's entrance. I just wanted to just pay attention and focus on his mannerisms as he came down. And it looked like he wanted to take his time with that belt. There was a spot in his entrance where, you know how they do. Well, first of all, usually it's Paul Heyman bringing the belt out, right? But Roman had it around his waist this time. They do the whole thing, takes the belt off, holds it, puts it up, get the fireworks. Cool. Now, as they do that, he's still holding it, right? Paul Heyman goes like he bends over like he's going to take the belt because that's what he usually does in this spot. But Roman just held it for a while. He just held it. It felt eerie, man. It felt eerie. It just normally Roman is really, really confident. Like, all right, hey, here's my belt. All right, here you go, wise man. Take it. Don't need that right now. It's mine. Ain't nobody gonna touch it. But he just held it just a little bit longer. And even in the ring, he just took his time and he just held that belt just much longer than he usually does. Much longer than he usually does. And even then, when he goes to put the belt in Cody's face, and he comes back and he takes it back and he's just holding it and he's just looking at the belt just a little bit longer. And I'm like, this is too eerie for me, man. It's too eerie because the way he's doing it makes it look like it's his final days with it. Ashbury didn't like this match. And he thought it was just okay. Me, and I guess now a lot of other people are on the other side of the fence. I thought this match was perfect. Thought it was perfect. And here's the reason why I think it's perfect. What are your expectations for this match? That right there sets the tone. Because once we know what your expectations are for this match, then we can know how we're going to watch this match. Are we going to see The Rock do a 450 splash? Absolutely not. Are we going to see The Rock or Roman pick up the pace? Absolutely not. No. That's what you got a guy in there like Seth for. You got your storytelling. That's what you got your guy like Cody for. You got each person in this match had a different value. Oh, excuse me. Each person in this match had a different value. And I can tell you the value. Seth was to raise the tempo. Seth's value and his job was to make sure that the tempo, anytime the tempo dropped too much, he was there to pick it back up. Cody, I think that Cody's there a bit to, how do I say this? Not call the spots, but tell the story of the match. And not in a sense of like a finish the story sort of thing, but like when you put your match together with your agents and whatnot, you got to figure out where are we going with this match and what kind of story can we tell within this match. And I think that that's something that Cody is really good at. Like that's just always been his thing. And to keep the story of the match in line, I think that that was the value that Cody brought to the match. What did Roman bring to the match? Just a fucking badass champion. Oh my God. We haven't seen Roman look like this in a really, really, really long time. Roman was aggressive. He got to the shits. He bought it. Roman bought it. And Rock, what was his job? Rock had a few jobs too. All right. You knew that he wasn't going to be fast. You knew he wasn't gonna, none of that was going to happen. You knew that he was going to be lurking. But he had a few jobs. One job was to be the final boss. Like literally. And they set the tone with that when The Rock, when everybody was on the outside and the ref goes to count, Rock says, if you keep counting, you're fucking fired. Ref ain't count another number for the rest of the match. I'm surprised he counted 1, 2, 3. The dude ain't count. He forgot his numbers. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. He just forgot. He didn't know numbers anymore. Rock was there to push his weight around. Rock was there to be a presence. Rock was there to be the guy where it's like, oh shit, like what can we do to this guy? However, on the other hand, when we do get a hand up on this guy, it means something. So every part of this match meant something. Let's talk about how everybody here did. I think everybody played their part to a T. Everybody was perfect. Everybody was perfect. Seth, the fucking idiot he is. Oh, they told his story beautifully, and it happened about a quarter of the way through the match. Was it a quarter? No, it was about halfway through the match where he was going into the ring to attack Rock. Rock was in the ring. He's tired, and Seth was like, sometime the bell had to ring. You knew it. The bell had to ring, and he's going to get in there to attack Rock, and Roman just out of nowhere just sweeps his legs, and Seth sold it as though he tore his MCL and ACL and his pec and everything. He think he tore everything off the bone. His pec ain't got nothing to do with his MCL and ACL, but same thing. He oversold, but I understand why he oversold. Him overselling, even though it was just a little sweep, it was no big deal. It did for a split second made you think like, damn, is he really hurt for real? And then you're like, oh, what? He got the story that he got Drew tomorrow, so he's got to be banged up. That's the point of this whole thing. So I think that that's why we had to oversell the knee, because if you just my knee and you're down for a little bit, and then later on in the match you're not selling the knee no more, now you can't tell that story on day 2 with him and Drew, But if you go overboard with the selling and then sell it throughout the match all the way to the end, all the way to the final count, now that knee matters tomorrow, because now we can't forget, hey, why we lose this match? Well, part of the reason why we lost this match was because Seth was banged up. And they went to work on him. They went to work on that knee. They went to work on his back. They tore him down. Let me say this about the pace of the match. Again, Seth was there to make sure that they can change the pace of the match whenever need be. He did his job. I liked the slower, methodical pacing in parts of this match. I think that the way they started this match, they started out very, very slow. Very slow because they wanted to set up the pieces. They had some time. They had time. How much time did they have? They had what did they go? 40 minutes, not including entrances, I think. I think they might have went 40 minutes. They went a long time. And here's the question. How do we get 40 minutes out of The Rock and Roman? Because what you would say about Roman and his matches as of late was that a lot of them were slow and prodding, not really much going on. So you knew that with Roman, you was going to get a bit of a slower match, a slower pace. However, he ramped up the aggression in this. Like everything that he did mattered. And real quick, I'm going to throw this in there, and I'll probably come back to it later. But oh my God, did they get me with that spear to the Rock. Oh, they got me. They had me hook, line, and sinker. And that right there is a beautiful, beautiful part of wrestling. I said this in the Raw review when I talked about Ricochet against Ivar. And I talked about the art of the kick out. Hopefully you guys remember that part of that video where I explained the art of the kick out. And they got it here tonight. It was perfect. If you give me Roman, who's ended everybody with his spear, spearing The Rock of all people, and they're coming off a big high at this point where the bloodline is dominating. Roman runs right through The Rock because Seth or Cody, one of the two, I think Seth moved Cody out the way. And Roman hits that spear on The Rock. Then they pick him up and hit pedigrees on the both of them, which was the homage to Triple H. It goes the storytelling. It goes back to earlier in this story where Rock kind of big dog Triple H by exerting his power. Hey, if you don't do something about this, I will. And Triple H comes out on SmackDown and tries to exert his power back, even though The Rock wasn't there. So here, Cody and Seth does their pedigree spot to let you know whose side they're on and Triple H's involvement in this, even though he couldn't be involved in this. So I love that right there. I love that callback that they did there. And they had me hook, line, and sinker because they pinned them both. I'm like, oh shit, they got him. It was just so fast that boom, they both kick out. And I'm like, oh God, what? They took you on a ride within that very, very quick 15 seconds. Everything happened so quick that you didn't have enough time to even think like, oh man, nah, that ain't gonna be. No, it was just too quick. Everything meant something in that spot. Roman, no one kicks out of his spear. Boom, hits The Rock with it. You already know that there's supposed to be tension to build up the match with Roman and The Rock. So Roman spearing Rock, like, oh shit, that's how we're gonna get into it. Then you have your pedigree spot. 1, 2, kick out. You got you. We got you. That's not your finish because you thought that you was about to get Roman The Rock. You thought you was about to get tension. And no, we're not. We're going to tease you with it, but we ain't going to give it to you. That ain't your finish. They got me. That is the art of the kick out. It was perfect. That's the contrast between a kick out that matters and a false finish with Ricochet and Ivar that doesn't. They don't have the cachet. You got to build up the equity in order for a false finish to work. And that's why, like, when you see it in an AEW or on the indies where guys have matches and they're kicking out of stuff maybe 5-6 times a match and it doesn't matter anymore, it doesn't mean anything anymore. That's why they bastardized the false finish so much that you don't even now it's just 1, 2, oh, like no one really thinks that that's going to be the finish because nobody's finisher matters anymore. So now when you have protected finishers, a lot of pedigree, a lot of spear, when you have protected finishers and we have a spot that means something where this spot is about to take us into the next part of the feud and they kick out of it, perfect. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Also, let me talk about my love for The Rock's antics with the ref. I don't know about you guys. I laughed so much at The Rock's antics with the refs, like him being on the outside of the ring. At one point, I was about to tweet, like, yo, is the Rock still a part of this match or did he become the coach? Now, granted, I understand what The Rock was doing. You understand what The Rock was doing. The Rock wasn't going to be doing too much work in this match because he's not in ring shape. Last time he went, well, not last time, but the times that he went one-on-one with people that can go, you got to CM Punk who fucking wore him out. I forget what they call it. I forget what they call it. It's going to come to me at another time. But he wore the Rock out. Rock had to take a full-blown halftime break and suck down his water. He was dying. You'll also notice that in this match, Rock was the only one taking drink breaks. Man was thirsty. He was getting worn out. Doing the littlest bit of stuff, and it's because he's not in ring shape. Even though they said that he had the 12-week training camp and that whole thing. Yeah, all right, whatever. That's not ring shape. Ring shape is constantly doing this over and over and over for years on end. So Rock had to take those breaks, which is why anytime he did get in the ring, he looked fresh. He looked like he's been doing it forever and he didn't look tired. Rock, if you just notice it, Rock never looked tired in this match. It's because he took really, really big portions of the match where he chilled. And he would get his drink and he would chill. He'll take a spot. He'll chill. He didn't have to constantly go. And that was also another way to keep him safe from injury. You let him take a spot and you let him rejuvenate so that he don't overwork himself and get hurt like he did in the Cena match. But in his time of doing that, just him talking shit to the ref was hilarious. The low blow to Seth, and then the ref goes over to Cody and he's like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, I can't do nothing about it." Rock overexerting his power was a beautiful part of this match. A beautiful part of this match. And then there was a very underrated line by Corey Graves that it's just gonna be it's gonna be so unappreciated because it told that was another thing, and this happened in the Jimmy and Jay match. A lot of stalling is so that commentators can tell the story of what's going on in the match. So there is that, but not a lot of. Corey Graves had the line of Roman Reigns, he sees his own blood. Now, here's the thing. Roman has been untouchable for the past 4 years, right? You can't beat the guy. No one comes close. You just can't do it. And the story is Roman's going to lose his title. Corey Graves calling that spot out, he sees his own blood. If you take it to how they had the Sammy and Goon match was structured around the Rocky movie, right? Even to the point where Gable says, "Hey, after this, you owe me one," right? Or you owe me a favor. It's from Rocky 3, right? It's from Rocky 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, because he had to beat Clubber Lang. So that was from Rocky. That was the line from Rocky 3. And this whole buildup has been Rocky 3. Him giving that line for Roman, he sees his own blood, is the line from Rocky 4 when Ivan Drago got cut. Oh my God, he got cut. He can bleed. He's human. He can bleed. So now we've uncovered that Roman is human, which sets up for tomorrow, where it's like, okay, we know that the guy can work. I mean, we know that the guy's human. We know the guy can bleed. We know he's touchable. Let's finish the story. That line from Corey Graves was not just about tonight. That was for tomorrow. And I think that that's why that line was just a beautiful line in that spot. Again, I like the pacing throughout the match. I like that they started out slow. They took it to the outside. They let everything build. They gave everything time. When they took it outside, I kind of think that they could have showed more time. It felt like they focused on Rock a lot outside the ring, and he was handling Seth, and you had Cody with Roman. Excuse me. You had Cody with Roman, and they're just over in the cut somewhere. So when Rock gets back in the ring and Seth is going in there, he's talking his shit. Seth's about to attack him. Roman comes out and he sweeps the leg. It's like, hold on, wait, what was happening over there? Where's Cody? Right? Would have loved to have seen Roman beat the crap out of him. They gave a lot of time to Cody and Roman in this match. I thought that they would give more time to Roman and Seth and have Rock and Cody be the ones that squared off a lot more, because you want to save Roman and Cody for the next day. But I am guessing that you put Seth with Rock mainly because Seth can work the different paces, and he come up, he could sell, he could bump, he could pick up the speed, he can carry Rock. I don't think that Cody really can carry Rock like a Seth can. So you put Seth with Rock, you put Roman with Cody because they're just gonna do wrestling stuff. Seth needed to carry Rock. So you put those two together throughout the match. It was just something that I noticed throughout, I would say, almost the entire match, how they just kept those pairings together, which to me was a little bit of a disappointment because the entire buildup was Rock and Cody. And I would have loved for there to be blood in this match because he needed to make that boy bleed, man. Need to put the blood on the belt. But that's why I enjoyed this match, because it started off at the pace that they needed to start off. They let it build. And throughout the entire match, it kept building. And the antics of a Rock helped a lot. Just being the boss. It's like you can't do anything about this stuff that he's doing, right? And also the newly refound aggression from Roman. Roman was a beast in this match. This was like Thunderdome Roman, just minus the talking. He didn't talk too much until more toward the end of the match. But Roman was on the shit. He was getting to it. And I like that. He did not want to be upstaged, not only by The Rock, he didn't want to be upstaged by anybody here. And I think that he did very well here. This was great. This was a great match because by the time we got to the end, I think they had everybody hook, line, and sinker on every moment in the match. And that right there is the beautiful part of wrestling. It's, can we take you on a ride? And when we get to the finish, how much do we have you hooked? When we look from now, if we watch this match in reverse and we can see how we got here, cool. But we watch it from beginning to end, it's like, dang, when are they gonna start picking it up? It felt like it was going to end at several times throughout the match because you didn't think that they can pick up the story of the match much more. But it's like every turn there was more story of this match to tell. And I don't think that they missed on anything. I don't think any part of it lagged outside of whatever your expectations were. If your expectations was of a different pacing, if it was a pacing thing, if your expectations was different, I don't know why you would expect differently. They made the match work for everybody involved, and everybody involved shined. Seth being a part of this match, hell, I think I wish that they would have put more emphasis on him being heavyweight champion. Like they should have kept pounding that in the viewer's head that Seth is your champion. Seth is a champion. Seth is a champion. Seth is a champion. Like I didn't feel like they bought that up much. And the reason that I feel like that was something that they should have done is because you still want to put focus on Seth's title as well. That way he raises the prestige of that title. It's like, oh shit, this title is a part of this one of the biggest matches in WrestleMania history. You have that, so that way when he goes against Drew, it's like, oh, okay, we got a little something more here. It just means that much more because Drew's gonna win that title. Anyway, I feel like I've spent way too much time on that match, and I give that all of the ratings in the world. I felt like it was great, top to bottom, because they just did everything at the pace that I felt that it should have been at, and to me, I just think it did well. So I'm finally finished talking about that match.